Hello, I want to speak to you today about a darkness that has been unveiled, a shadow that has been creeping beneath the golden surfaces of your society. You have all heard the whispers, you have seen the headlines, you have seen the names on the list, you have seen the island, and you are shocked, you are angry, you are asking, how is this possible? How can the men who rule the world, the men who make the laws, the men who stand on podiums and preach about justice and family values, how can they be living in such a swamp of perversion? But I tell you, do not be shocked. To be shocked means you were sleeping. To be shocked means you believed their mask. I am not here to discuss the legalities. The law is a spider web. It catches the small flies and lets the big bumblebees break through. We are not interested in their law, we are interested in their soul. We are interested in the spiritual anatomy of this corruption. Because what has happened on that island is not an isolated accident. It is the inevitable explosion of a civilization built on suppression. The world you live in is a schizophrenic world. It demands two faces. One face for the daylight, smiling, respectable, moral, polite, and another face for the darkness, hungry, twisted, desperate, violent, and the higher you go in the hierarchy of power, the bigger the split becomes. The politician, the prince, the billionaire, they have to wear the heaviest masks. They have to pretend to be superhuman. They have to pretend to be pure. And the more they pretend to be pure, the more their shadow grows in the basement. If you are ready to look behind the mask, if you are ready to understand the mechanism of this darkness so that you do not become a victim of it, signal your readiness. Click the like button. Let it be a signal to existence that you are awake and watching. You see, power is a dangerous energy. It is like electricity. If you are unaware, if you are unconscious, power will destroy you. It will amplify your madness. If you have a small seed of lust in you and you are a poor man, that seed will remain small. You cannot afford to feed it. You have to work. You have to survive. Your madness is contained by your poverty. But give that same man $1 billion. Give him a private jet. Give him an island where no police can enter. And suddenly that small seed of lust becomes a jungle. It becomes a monster. Money and power do not change a man. They unmask him. They remove the brakes. And what we are seeing now with this list, with these documents, is the unmasking of the global ego. These men thought they were gods. And when the ego thinks it is God, it treats other human beings as things. This is the root of the perversion. It is not just about sex. Sex is natural. Sex is divine. What happened there was not sex. It was violence disguised as pleasure. It was domination. It was the ugly desire to use innocence as a commodity. Why does the powerful mind seek out the innocent? Have you asked this? Why this hunger for the young, for the untouched? Because the powerful mind is old. It is dead. It is dry. It has lost its own innocence in the game of power. It has sold its soul to climb the ladder. And now, sitting on the top of the pile of money, it feels empty. It feels rotten. So it tries to consume innocence, to feel alive again. It is a vampire psychology. They are feeding on life because they have killed the life within themselves. This is the tragedy of your elites. They are vampires. They look shiny on the magazines. they wear expensive suits, but inside they are dead, and the dead need blood. This is why I say to you, do not envy them, do not look at their palaces and their plains and wish you were them. You do not know the hell they are living in. You do not know the darkness that haunts them when the cameras are off. To be so divided, to live such a double life is a torture. But why does society create such men? Because you have created a society that condemns nature. You have been told that your instincts are wrong. You have been told to hide your desires. And the people who told you this, the priests, the leaders, the moralists, they are the ones hiding the most. They shout the loudest against sin because they are fighting the sin inside themselves. And because they cannot transform it, because they do not know the alchemy of awareness, they can only repress it. And repression is a boomerang. You throw it away and it comes back to hit you with 10 times the force. The island is the boomerang returning. It is the collective shadow of a repressed civilization. You cannot outlaw nature. If you close the front door to sex, it comes in through the back window as perversion. If you deny the natural flow of the river, it becomes a swamp. And on that island, the swamp bred mosquitoes of the ugliest kind. Now you are seeing the list. You are seeing names that you trusted, names that you voted for, names that you admire, and your heart is broken. Good, let it break, because a broken illusion is better than a comfortable lie. You need to see that the people you gave your power to are not worthy of it. No one is worthy of holding power over another. This is my fundamental teaching. Be your own master. Do not look for fathers in the sky or in the capital city. The moment you look for a father figure, a leader to save you, a billionaire to inspire you, you create a pedestal. And the man on the pedestal starts to believe he is above the law. He starts to believe he is above humanity. He thinks, I can do anything. I am special. This specialness is the disease. It disconnects him from empathy. He stops seeing the girl as a human being. He sees her as a toy, an object for his amusement. This objectification is the ultimate sin. I use the word sin not in the religious sense, but in the existential sense. To treat a subject, a living, breathing soul, as an object is the only crime, and this crime is committed not just on that island, but everywhere power reigns without love. The island is just the extreme concentration of it. It is the laboratory of the ego. If you want to understand how to dissolve this ego, how to ensure that you never use another human being as an object, you must join our community. Click the join button. We are not just talking here, we are learning the art of respect, the art of seeing the divine in the other. If these men had seen the divine in those girls, they would have bowed down, they would have worshipped, but they were blind, power blinds. And let us look deeper into the matrix that protected them. For years this was known. For years people whispered, but nothing happened. Why? Because the matrix protects its own. It is a club. They scratch each other's backs. You keep my secret, I keep yours. It is a web of blackmail and mutual corruption. They are all holding hands in the dark. This is why they are terrified now. Because the light has entered, one thread has been pulled, and the whole sweater is unraveling, and they are panicking. Watch them, watch their denials, watch their lawyers spinning lies. It is a spectacle of fear. They are not afraid of jail, they are afraid of the mirror. They are afraid that you will see their nakedness. The emperor has no clothes and he is very ugly. But do not just be angry at them. Anger is cheap. Anger changes nothing. If you just hate them, you remain on their level. You must understand them. You must see that they are victims of their own unconsciousness. They are not evil in the sense of a devil with horns. They are sick. They are spiritually retarded. They have the power of giants, but the emotional intelligence of insects. This is the danger of your world. Technology is high, wealth is high, power is high, but consciousness is low. It is like giving a loaded machine gun to a baby. The baby will kill, not because he is bad, but because he does not know what he is holding. These men are babies with machine guns. They have money but no meditation. They have influence but no insight. And this brings us to the core of the problem. The education of the human being. We teach our children how to make money, how to be successful, how to calculate, how to conquer, but we never teach them how to handle their own energy. We never teach them how to transform lust into love. We never teach them compassion. So they grow up with giant heads and shrunken hearts, and a man with a shrunken heart is capable of anything. He can bomb a country, and he can exploit a child, and then he can go home and eat his dinner peacefully. He has compartmentalized his mind. He has built walls inside himself. On one side of the wall, he is a philanthropist, giving money to charity. On the other side, he is a predator, and he never lets the two sides meet. He keeps the doors locked. I am here to break down the walls. I am here to tell you that you must be one. You must be whole. If you are whole, you cannot harm, because to harm another is to harm yourself. To exploit another is to degrade your own soul. Do you think those men are happy? Do you think they were having a good time on that island? No. Look at their faces. Look closely. There is no joy. There is only a frantic, nervous excitement. The excitement of the addict. They are addicted to the forbidden because the allowed has become boring to them. They have tried everything money can buy, and they are still empty. So they try to buy what cannot be bought. They try to steal innocence. But innocence cannot be stolen. It can only be destroyed. And in destroying it, they destroy themselves. They are rotting from the inside. This case is a funeral. It is the funeral of the old male ego, the toxic masculinity that thinks power means domination. That era is ending. It has to end or this planet will die. The feminine principle must rise. Not just women, but the feminine quality in everyone. The quality of receptivity, of care, of love. If you are listening to this and you feel a sickness in your stomach when you hear the details of this case, do not push it away. That sickness is your health reacting to the poison. It is your soul saying no. Use that energy. Do not let it turn into cynicism. Oh, the world is terrible. Everyone is bad. No, the world is beautiful, but the world is asleep. Be the one who wakes up. If you want to help change this, start with yourself. Look into your own basement. Do you have secrets? Do you have repressed desires? Do you treat people as objects in your daily life? Maybe you don't have an island, but maybe you treat your employee like a machine. Maybe you treat your wife like a possession. It is the same seed. The difference is only of scale. Clean your own house, because the world is just the aggregate of all our houses. If you clean your house, you have cleaned a part of the world. And if you want tools to clean your house, if you want the broom of meditation and the light of awareness we have provided them. Check the e-books in our store. There are manuals for inner hygiene. You wash your hands every day, but have you washed your mind? This scandal is a great opportunity. It is an apocalypse. The word apocalypse does not mean the end of the world. It means the lifting of the veil. The veil is being lifted. The ugly face of the matrix is being revealed. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You cannot go back to believing that the authorities know best. You cannot go back to being a sheep. You have to become a lion. A lion does not need a leader. A lion does not need a shepherd. A lion walks alone. And a lion does not exploit the weak. Only the hyenas exploit the weak. These elites, they are not lions. They are hyenas. They hunt in packs and they hunt the vulnerable. But their time is up. The light is too strong now. The internet, information, communication, it is making it harder for the shadows to hide. They can run, but they cannot hide. And more names will come, do not doubt it. The list is long. It is not just one man. One man was just the broker. He was the supplier. But the demand came from the highest places. And notice how the system tried to silence him. The camera malfunctioned. The guards were asleep. Do you believe in such coincidences? The matrix protects itself to the very end. It cuts off the infected limb to save the body. They sacrificed one to save the many, but it will not work. Because the rot is in the blood. It is systemic. You must step out of this system. I do not mean you should stop paying taxes or leave your job. I mean you should step out of the psychology of the system, the psychology of domination, the psychology of greed, the psychology of hypocrisy. Live a transparent life, a life where you have nothing to hide. If you have nothing to hide, no one can blackmail you. These men are controlled by blackmail. That is how the game is played. They gather dirt on each other so they can control each other. It is a chain of fear. Break the chain. Be open. Be vulnerable. If you have a desire, acknowledge it. If you have a flaw, admit it. A man who admits his flaw is stronger than a man who pretends to be a saint. I have always said, I am not a saint. I am a remarkably ordinary man, but I am honest, and my honesty is my power. Be honest with yourself. This is the first step of spirituality, and this honesty will give you eyes to see through their lies. You will watch the news, and you will see the actors reciting their lines. You will see the panic in their eyes, and you will feel a strange compassion. Yes, compassion. Because imagine the hell of being them. Imagine the fear of being exposed every second of every day. Imagine the weight of those secrets. They are in a prison much worse than any jail cell. They are in the prison of their own conscience. Even if they have buried it deep, it is there, scratching at the door. They cannot sleep. They need pills to sleep. They need alcohol to forget. They are miserable people. Do not hate them. Understand them. And in understanding, ensure that you do not become like them. That you do not let the seed of power corrupt your simplicity. Stay simple. Stay grounded. If you are finding clarity in this message, if this analysis is resonating with your own intuition, consider supporting us with the super thanks. It helps us keep the light on in a world that prefers the dark. And remember, this is not the end of the story. This is just the opening chapter. The unraveling has begun. And as it unravels, you will see more and more how the sexual repression of 2000 years has created this nightmare. They told you sex was sin, and by making it a sin, they made it a commodity. They made it dirty, and because it is dirty, they enjoy it in the dark. If sex was accepted as simple, natural, playful, like the flowers blooming, like the birds singing, there would be no Epsteins, there would be no perversion. Perversion is the byproduct of the priest. The priest says no, and the biology says yes. And in that conflict, the mind becomes twisted. We need a world without priest. We need a world without this false morality. We need a world of naturalness. If we can raise a generation of children who are at ease with their bodies, who are not ashamed of their senses, who know that love is a celebration, we will starve the Epsteins of the future. There will be no market for their ugly trade. The supply exists because the repression exists. Destroy the repression, and you destroy the market. This is the long-term solution. The short-term solution is truth. Let the names come out, let the statues fall, let the heroes be exposed as villains. It is a necessary cleansing. Do not be afraid of the chaos. Chaos is needed to destroy the old order. Out of this chaos, a new humanity can be born. A humanity that values transparency over secrecy. A humanity that values love over power. You are the pioneers of this new humanity. You who are listening, you who are awake, you are the antibodies of the planet. The planet is sick, and you are the cure. But to be the cure, you must be healthy yourself. You must be free of the virus of guilt. So check yourself. Are you carrying guilt? Are you carrying shame? Drop it. It is not yours. It was given to you by the very system that created this island. Give it back to them. Say, I will not carry your garbage anymore. Be light, be luminous, and watch the show. It is a great drama. The matrix is falling, the cracks are visible, and the light is pouring in. But what happens when the light pours in? What happens when the structures we relied on, the governments, the institutions, the media, collapse under the weight of their own lies? You will feel groundless. You will feel that there is no one in charge. And that is a scary feeling. But it is also the beginning of freedom. Because when no one is in charge outside, you have to take charge inside. You have to become your own sovereign. This is the invitation of the times. The universe is forcing you to grow up. The father figures are being revealed as criminals. The mother figures are being revealed as hypocrites. You are orphans now, but to be an orphan in existence is a blessing. It means you are directly connected to the source. You don't need a middleman. You don't need a broker to talk to God, and you certainly don't need a politician to tell you what is right and wrong. You have a compass inside you. It is called awareness. Polish it, use it, trust it, and as we move forward into this unraveling, we must look at the specific mechanism of how they use compromise, the honeypot. It is an ancient trap. Why does it work? Because men are weak in their unawareness. A moment of pleasure and a lifetime of slavery, that is the deal. They trap you with your own biology. They film you, they document you, and then they own you. This is how decisions are made in your world. Not by logic, not by the will of the people, but by fear of exposure. The puppet master pulls the strings, and the strings are made of shame. Imagine a world where there is no shame, where sex is as simple as shaking hands, where there is nothing to hide. In such a world, blackmail is impossible. You have a picture of me making love. So what? Everyone makes love. It is beautiful. Frame it and put it on the wall. If you can say that, you are free. They cannot control a man who has no shame. This is why I teach you to drop shame. Shame is their weapon. If you are shameless, you are invincible. Be shameless. Be natural. And see how their power crumbles. They need your shame to rule you. Without your shame, they are impotent. This island was a factory of shame. They manufactured it, they exported it, they used it as currency, and now the currency is collapsing. The inflation of lies has become too high. The bubble is bursting, and when the bubble bursts, do not cry for the bubble. Clap your hands, dance, the prison walls are falling down. But be careful, when the walls fall, dust rises, there will be confusion, there will be noise. Do not get lost in the noise. Stay in your center, watch, witness, and remember, the ultimate judge is not in a courtroom. The ultimate judge is the law of karma, cause and effect. You cannot escape it. You can bribe a judge, you can buy a jury, you can silence a witness, but you cannot bribe existence. What you sow, you shall reap. They have sown misery, and they will reap madness. They have sown pain, and they will reap a harvest of nightmares. It is already happening. Their eyes tell the story. So, let us leave them to their karma. We have our own work to do. Our work is to build the alternative. To build a world where love is not a commodity. To build a world where power is used to serve, not to dominate. Can we do it? Yes, but not by fighting them, by transcending them, by creating a frequency they cannot touch, the frequency of the heart. If you are ready to tune into this frequency, subscribe to the channel. Do not miss the next steps of this journey. We are going to go deeper. We are going to explore how to immunize yourself against the matrix. And if you want to speed up your process, if you want the high-speed connection to truth, get the ebooks. They are the software update your mind needs. The time is now. The illusion is breaking. Do not try to glue it back together. Let it shatter. And in the space that remains, find your true face. The face that was yours before the world told you who to be, the original face. This is the only freedom, and it is waiting for you. The mask is falling, and the face behind it is terrified, but do not look away. This terror is a teacher. It teaches you that no amount of money can buy peace, and no amount of power can silence the truth. You must understand that what happened on that island was not just a crime against law, it was a crime against nature. And nature is very patient, but nature is also very ruthless. When you go against her for too long, she strikes back. And she strikes back by exposing your ugliness to the sunlight. You see, the elite live in a bubble of yes men. Everyone tells them they are right. Everyone tells them they are geniuses. Everyone laughs at their jokes. This creates a kind of madness. They lose touch with reality. They start to think that their whims are laws. And when a man loses touch with reality, his desires become twisted. He no longer finds satisfaction in the normal, in the simple. A simple flower does not excite him. A simple love does not excite him. He needs something sharper, something darker, something forbidden to feel anything at all. This is the spiritual numbness of the wealthy. They are so overstimulated that they have become impotent to life. They need stronger and stronger doses of poison just to feel a twitch of aliveness. That island was their pharmacy. It was where they went to inject the poison of domination, thinking it was the elixir of youth. But look at them now. They are not young. They are old, haggard, shaken with fear. The poison has worked. It has killed their souls. If you want to avoid this numbness, if you want to keep your sensitivity alive without needing perversion, click the like button. Let it be a vow to remain sensitive to the simple joys of existence. And let us look at the society that worships these men. You are also complicit. Yes, you, because you bought their magazines, you watched their movies, you voted for them, you clapped for them, you put them on the covers of your Time magazines and your Forbes lists. You call them visionaries, you call them leaders, and deep down you envied them. You thought, if only I could be like him. Now existence is showing you, here is your hero. Look at him. Do you still want to be him? It is a great lesson in disillusionment. And disillusionment is good. It means the illusion is gone. You should celebrate every time a hero falls, because it throws you back on yourself. It forces you to stop looking up and start looking in. There are no heroes, there are just human beings. Some are awake, most are asleep. And the ones you call great are often the most deeply asleep, because their ego is a fortress that keeps the light out. The list that everyone is talking about, it is not just a list of names, it is a list of symptoms. Every name on that list represents a failure of your civilization, a civilization that values profit over people, a civilization that turns everything into a commodity, even children, especially children. Why? Because the child represents the ultimate commodity, unused potential, and the capitalist mind wants to consume everything. It is a hungry ghost. It eats the forests, it eats the oceans, and finally it eats its own future. But I tell you, there is a way out of this hunger. The way out is to discover the internal food, the food of meditation. If you are fed from the inside, you do not need to consume the world. You can enjoy the world without eating it. You can love a flower without picking it. You can love a child without destroying its innocence. This is the shift from lust to love. Lust wants to take. Love wants to give. These men on the list, they are beggars. They were taking. And the more they took, the emptier they became. It is a bottomless pit. Do not fall into that pit. Learn to give. Learn to share. If you have energy, share it. If you have love, spread it. And this brings us to the mechanism of blackmail that I mentioned. This is the glue of the matrix. How do you control a powerful man? You find his weakness. And what is the weakness of the powerful? It is always the same. The lower centers, the sex center, because they have repressed it to become powerful. It is their soft underbelly. So the trap is set, the honeypot. It is an ancient strategy. And the fool walks right into it, thinking he is a king, thinking he is taking what he wants. But the moment he acts, the camera clicks, and the king becomes a slave. He becomes a puppet. Do what we say, or the world will see what you did. This is how your wars are started. This is how your laws are passed. Do not be naive. Do not think these decisions are made in parliament. They are made in dark rooms, under the threat of exposure. The Island was a factory for creating puppets. They lured them in, gave them their dark fantasies, and then put the strings on them. It is a demonic genius. but it relies on one thing: shame. I repeat this because it is the key. If these men had no shame, the blackmail would not work. If they lived in a society where sexuality was not demonized, where there was no scandal in being human, the strings would not hold. But because you live in a society of hypocrites, where everyone pretends to be a saint, the threat of scandal is a death sentence. So the hypocrisy of the society is the soil in which this blackmail grows. You, the moralists, the Puritans, the churchgoers, you create the environment for the Epsteins. You make the weapon that they use. You make sex a bomb, and they use the bomb to blow up democracy, disarm the bomb, take the explosive powder out of sex, make it normal, make it banal, make it fun. If a politician is found with a lover, so what? Does it affect his ability to build roads? Does it affect his ability to balance the budget? No. But you make it a national crisis. Oh, he is immoral. And because you do that, you give the blackmailers power. Stop caring about the private lives of public figures. It is none of your business. And by making it your business, you are handing the remote control of your leaders to the criminals who hold the tapes. If you want a free world, you must have a tolerant mind, a mind that does not judge the bedroom behavior of others. If you are ready to drop this judgment, if you are ready to stop feeding the blackmail machine with your own moral outrage, click the join button. Become part of a community that values consciousness over morality. Morality is a tool of control, consciousness is a tool of freedom. And consider the victims, the girls, the young women. Their pain is real, their trauma is deep. Why? Because they were used as things. Their subjectivity was denied. They were turned into flesh, into currency. This is the deepest wound a human being can suffer, to be reduced to an object. But I say to you and I say to them, if they could hear me, do not remain a victim forever. Yes, you were victimized. But if you carry the identity of the victim for the rest of your life, they have won. They have defined you. They have trapped you in the past. You must rise. You must realize that your soul was never touched. They touched your body. Yes, they manipulated your mind. Yes, but the witness inside you, the pure consciousness, it was watching. It was never stained. It is like the lotus in the mud. The mud is dirty, but the lotus is pure. Reclaim your lotus. Do not let the mud define you. This is the hardest spiritual work, but it is the only way to heal. You must detach your I from your history. Your history is a tragedy, but your being is a celebration. Do not let the tragedy of the history cancel the celebration of the being. And for the rest of us watching this drama, we must be careful not to use these victims as entertainment. The media uses them. It puts their tears on the screen to sell advertisements. It is another form of exploitation. We are consuming their pain just as the elites consume their bodies. Stop consuming pain. Look at the situation with compassion, but with detachment. Do not get emotionally drunk on the scandal. See the structure, see the machine, and decide to unplug from the machine. The machine is global. It is not just in America, it is in Europe, it is in Asia. Wherever there is concentrated power, there is this shadow. It is in the Vatican, it is in Hollywood, it is in the ashrams of the false gurus. Anywhere you give your power away, someone will abuse it. This is the law of power. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Why? Because the ego cannot handle power. The ego is a hole. If you pour power into a hole, it just becomes a bigger hole. It becomes a black hole. It starts sucking everything in. Only a man of meditation can handle power, because he does not need it. He holds it lightly. He can drop it at any moment. If you give power to a man who does not need it, he will use it to serve. If you give power to a man who craves it, he will use it to destroy. Look at our leaders. They are all craving. They are all ambitious. They are running a race, and you are cheering for them. Stop cheering. Start questioning. Why do you want this power? What is lacking in you that you need to rule over millions? The desire to rule is a sickness. The healthy man wants to rule himself. The sick man wants to rule others. And we have filled our capitals with sick men. And now we are surprised that they are doing sick things. Do not be surprised, it is the logical outcome. If you plant wheat seeds, do not be shocked when you don't get roses. We have planted ambition, competition, greed, and we have harvested Epstein. He is our harvest. He is the fruit of our collective tree. If the fruit is bitter, look at the roots. The roots are in your schools, in your families, in your churches. The root is the idea that I am separate from you and I must win against you. This separation is the cause of all violence. If I know that you are part of me, how can I hurt you? It would be like biting my own hand. We need a revolution of oneness, not as a philosophy, but as a feeling. When you look at the face of the abuser, see the distortion of God. When you look at the face of the victim, see the suffering of God. It is all God playing a terrible game of hide and seek. And you are the one who is waking up in the middle of the game. You are rubbing your eyes. You are saying, wait a minute, this game is cruel. I don't want to play this anymore. That refusal to play is the birth of the new man. The new man does not want to be a master, and he does not want to be a slave. He wants to be a friend. Can we build a world of friends? It sounds like a dream, but all realities start as dreams. The nightmare of the island started as a dream in a sick mind. The paradise of the new earth starts as a dream in an awakened mind. Dream with me. Dream of a world where nothing is hidden, where every house is made of glass, where you can see into the heart of your neighbor and he can see into yours, and there is no fear because there is no judgment. The island was a fortress of walls, high walls, secret tunnels. Why? To keep the judgment out, to keep the eyes of the world out. If we dissolve judgment, we dissolve the need for walls. If you are ready to live without walls, if you are ready to be transparent, show your support, send a super thanks. It is a brick for the new glass house we are building. And let us talk about the enablers, the people who knew and did nothing. The pilots, the maids, the assistants, they are the silent army of the matrix. They sold their silence for a salary. They saw evil and they looked the other way because they wanted job security. This is the banality of evil. It is not just the monster at the top. It is the thousands of little people who just do their job, who just follow orders, who just don't want trouble. Are you an enabler in your life? Do you see wrongness and stay silent because you are afraid? If you do, you are building the next island. You are laying the foundation. Courage is the only antidote. The courage to speak, the courage to say no, the courage to lose your job rather than lose your soul. I am asking a lot of you. I am asking you to be heroes in a world of cowards, but you have it in you. The potential is there. It is sleeping. Wake it up. Shake yourself. Do not let this news cycle just pass you by like another Netflix show. Let it change you. Let it radicalize you towards truth. They want you to get bored. They want you to get scandal fatigue. They will release the names slowly, one by one, until you stop caring. Until you say, oh, another one, whatever, do not get bored. Keep looking. Keep demanding the truth. The light hurts their eyes, but it heals yours. And while you look at the darkness out there, do not forget to light the candle in here. The darker the night, the more needed is your inner light. If you become dark watching the darkness, they have won, they have infected you. Keep your joy, keep your dance, keep your love. This is the ultimate rebellion. To be happy in a mad world is the greatest act of defiance. They want you depressed, they want you fearful, they want you cynical. Be ecstatic. Laugh at their stupidity. Laugh at their crumbling empire. Your laughter shakes their walls more than your anger. If you can laugh at the absurdity of it all, you are free. And from that freedom you can act, you can create, you can build the alternative. We are building it here. This channel is a small island of consciousness in an ocean of unconsciousness. But our island is open to everyone. It has no walls. It has no secrets. Come to this island, the island of Osho, the island of awareness. Here we do not exploit, we explore. We do not abuse, we awaken. The choice is yours. The island of Epstein, or the island of awareness, the island of death, or the island of life. You have to choose every day, with every click, with every thought, with every dollar. Choose wisely, because the world is being reshaped right now. The old gods are dying. Make sure the new ones you birth are worthy of worship. And remember, the only true God is the one who dwells within you, the God of freedom. If you want to know this God, if you want to meet Him face to face, read the e-books. They are the introductions to your own divinity. We will continue this dissection. We will go deeper into the psychology of the prince and the politician. We will see how their specific pathologies are born. Do not go away. The surgery is in progress, and we must remove every bit of the tumor. Stay awake. Stay with me. We promise to look at the prince and the politician. We promise to dissect the specific madness that grows in the corridors of power. And you must look closely, because these are not just men, they are archetypes. They are symbols of the diseases that plague the human mind when it is inflated by ego. Consider the prince, born into a golden cage. He has never worked a day in his life. He has never known the struggle of survival. From the moment he took his first breath, he was told, "You are special. You are royal. You are better than them." Can you imagine the damage this does to a child's soul? It cripples him. It cuts him off from humanity. He grows up believing that the world exists to serve him, that women exist to please him, that laws exist for the common people, not for the blood royal. This is a deep psychosis, and when this psychosis meets a predator like the man on the island, it is a perfect match. The predator says, "Your Highness, on my island you can be a true king. No rules, no cameras, just your pleasure. And the prince goes because in his palace he is suffocating under the weight of protocol, under the eyes of the press, under the expectations of his mother. He wants to be a beast because he is tired of being a prince. Do you see? The island offers him a release from his role, but it is a dirty release, it is a regression. Instead of transcending his role through meditation, he falls below his role into animalism. This is the tragedy of the royal. He is stuck in the past. He is a relic, and relics belong in museums, not in positions of power. The world is watching the fall of the prince, and it is realizing these people are not noble, they are just spoiled children with dangerous toys. If you agree that nobility comes from character, not birth, click the like button. Let us vote for a new aristocracy, the aristocracy of consciousness. Now look at the politician, the man who smiles too much, the man who shakes thousands of hands but touches no one. What is his sickness? His sickness is a deep, gaping hole of inferiority. He feels small. So he wants to be big, he wants to be president, he wants to be prime minister. He wants his face on every wall. Why? Because he cannot stand his own face in the mirror. He needs your applause to feel alive. He is a vampire of energy. He sucks the attention of the crowd. And because he is always performing, always acting, he becomes hollow. There is no one home. If you peel the onion of a politician, you find nothing inside, just layers of masks. And this hollowness is painful. To be empty is painful. So he tries to fill it. He tries to fill it with power, with money, and yes, with sex. But because he is a public figure, his sex life must be hidden. It becomes his shadow. The brighter the light he shines on the stage, the darker the shadow he casts backstage. The politician on the island, he is there because he wants to take off the mask. He wants to stop smiling. He wants to dominate because in the day he has to beg for votes. In the night he wants to command. It is a compensation. The island is the place of compensation. It is where the public servants go to become private masters. It is where the champions of women's rights go to exploit women. Do you see the hypocrisy? It is almost perfect. It is a masterpiece of deception. But do not be deceived. Do not think, oh, he is a good man, he just made a mistake. No. A man who can look into the eyes of a victim and see only an object is not a good man. He is a broken man. He is a spiritually dead man. And we have let the dead rule the living for too long. And what about the intellectuals, the scientists, the professors from the great universities? They were there too. This is the most shocking part for the mind. We think, but they are smart, they are geniuses, they know physics, they know logic. Intelligence is not wisdom. Let this sink deep into you. Intelligence is a tool. A knife can be used to peel an apple, or it can be used to kill. It depends on whose hand holds the knife. The mind of a genius without the heart of a Buddha is a disaster. The scientist goes to the island because he thinks he can solve the problem of life with his brain. He talks about transhumanism. He talks about eugenics. He wants to improve the human race. He thinks he is playing God. And the man on the island, he played to this ego. He funded their labs. He promised them immortality. He said, I will give you money to seed the human race. It sounds like science fiction, but it is science fact. The ego of the scientist wants to cheat death. It wants to engineer life. But they have forgotten the basic law. You cannot improve life, you can only live it. Life is already perfect. It does not need your genetic modification, it needs your love. These great minds, they were stupid, spiritually stupid. They were dazzled by money and flattery. They sold their integrity for a research grant. It shows you that the IQ test measures nothing of value. It does not measure character, it does not measure awareness. A simple farmer who loves his land and respects his neighbors is far superior to these Nobel Prize winners who trafficked with a monster. The farmer has roots, the scientist lives in his head, and the head is easily confused by greed. If you are tired of the experts who have no soul, if you value the wisdom of the heart over the cleverness of the head, subscribe to this channel. We are a university of the heart, and we must look at the system itself, the blackmail system. It is not just about individuals. It is a web, a spider web, and the spider sits in the center. Who is the spider? It is not one man. The spider is the intelligence agency, the deep state. I do not deal in conspiracy theories. I deal in conspiracy facts. It is a fact that power seeks to control power, and the best way to control a leader is to have dirt on him. The island was a honey trap operation, a way to gather compromat. Do you think it is an accident that this man was friends with presidents of all nations, with princes, with bankers? He was collecting them. He was collecting leverage. He was a broker of influence. And who protected him? Who gave him the sweet deal the first time he was caught? The system protected him because he was useful to the system. He was a vault of secrets. And as long as the vault was closed, everyone was safe. But now the vault is cracking, and the rats are running. This reveals that your democracy is a sham. It is a puppet show. The real decisions are not made by the people you vote for. They are made by the people who hold the tapes. This is a hard truth, but you must swallow it. If you swallow it, you will stop looking to politics for salvation. Politics is the problem, not the solution. The solution is consciousness. You must build a life that cannot be blackmailed, a life of transparency, a life where you have no dark secrets. If you have a fetish, own it. If you have a desire, express it or transform it, but do not hide it. Secrecy is the cancer. The island thrived on secrecy. What happens on the island stays on the island. This is the motto of the mafia, and the elites are a mafia. They have their own code of silence, omerta. But the age of Aquarius is the age of information, the age of light. The silence is being broken, and it is being broken by the courage of the victims, the little people, the ones who were supposed to be crushed. They are standing up, they are speaking, and their voice is shaking the foundations of the palaces. This is the power of truth. It is small, but it is mighty. A single candle can destroy a mountain of darkness. Be that candle, and let us go deeper into the why. Why do they do it? Why the obsession with the young? Because they are afraid of death. The old man looks at the young girl and he sees vitality. He sees life energy. He thinks, if I consume this, I will live longer, I will feel young again. It is a cannibalistic magic. They are trying to eat time. They are trying to reverse the clock. But you cannot reverse the clock. You can only transcend time. Meditation takes you beyond time. When you are in deep meditation, you are neither young nor old. You are eternal. If these men knew meditation, they would not need to feed on the young. They would find the eternal spring within themselves. But they are spiritual beggars. They are trying to steal what can only be found within. And notice the role of money. Money is the fuel of this fire. Without the billions, the island is just a rock. Money bought the planes, money bought the silence, money bought the lawyers. You worship money, you think if I had $1 billion, I would be happy. Look at them. Are they happy? They are miserable. They are perverts. Money magnified their misery. Money is energy. If you are happy, money will make you happier. If you are unhappy, money will make you unhappier. If you are sick in the head, money will make you a monster. Do not seek money before you seek yourself. First be a master of yourself. Then if money comes, you can use it. You can build schools, you can build gardens, you can create beauty. But if you are a slave to your instincts, money will only build you a bigger cage. It will build you an island of horrors. I want you to drop the envy of the rich. Pity them. They are the poorest people on earth. They have sold their souls for a ride on a private jet. It is a bad deal. You have your soul. You can walk on the grass. You can look at the moon. You can love without paying for it. You are the emperor. Wake up to your richness. And as we dissect this corpse of the elite, we must also look at the media. The media played the game. For years, they praised these men. They put them on pedestals. Why? Because the media is owned by the same club. They tell you what to think. They tell you who to hate and who to love. And now they are pretending to be shocked. Oh, we didn't know. They knew. Everyone knew. Do not trust the corporate media. They are the PR department of the matrix. Trust your own eyes. Trust your own gut. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. If a man looks like a predator, he is a predator. Trust your instinct. The animal in you knows. The mind can be fooled by a suit and a tie. The body cannot be fooled. Your body knows when it is in the presence of evil. It shrinks, it gets cold. Listen to your body. The exposure of this case is a test for humanity. Will we just watch it like a movie? Or will we learn that we cannot give unchecked power to anyone, that we must demand transparency, that we must protect the vulnerable? And most importantly, will we learn that the suppression of sexuality is the root cause? If we continue to teach our children that sex is bad, we will continue to produce perverts. The pervert is the shadow of the Puritan. The priest and the pedophile are partners. One creates the guilt, the other acts out the repressed desire. They are in business together. We must break this partnership. We must bring sex out of the basement and onto the porch. Let the sun shine on it. Sex is not just for reproduction. It is not just for relief. It is a door to the divine. If you treat it as sacred, it will never become ugly. Teach your children that their bodies are temples, not to be used, not to be abused, but to be worshipped. If we change the consciousness, we change the world. Politics will not change the world. Laws will not change the world. Only a new consciousness can save us from these islands of darkness. You are the carriers of this new consciousness. If you feel the weight of this responsibility and the joy of it, support this channel. Click join, send a super thanks. It is a vote for the future. We are not just analyzing the news, we are alchemizing it. We are turning the poison into medicine. The poison is the revelation of evil. The medicine is the awakening of awareness. Swallow the medicine. Let it wake you up. And do not stop at the outrage. Outrage is a good start, but it is a bad place to park. Move from outrage to action. What is the action? Be the opposite of Epstein. He was secretive. Be transparent. He was exploitative. Be generous. He was power hungry. Be loving. He was asleep. Be awake. This is the only revenge, to be so full of light that their darkness cannot touch you, and do not fear their power. Their power is fragile. It is built on lies. One truth is enough to shatter it. The truth has been spoken. The glass is shattering. Stay watching. Stay alert. In the next part, we will go even deeper. We will look at the solution. How do we structure a society that does not create these monsters? What is the vision of a commune? A community of conscious love. We will move from the diagnosis to the cure, because I am not here just to point out the disease. I am a physician of the soul. I am here to heal, and the healing begins with you. Stay tuned. The operation continues. We have spoken of the disease. Now we must speak of the health, because if you only stare at the disease, you become hypnotized by it. You begin to think that sickness is the normal state of affairs. It is not. Health is your birthright. Sanity is your nature. The island of horrors was a community of sickness. It was a dark commune. Now I want to give you the vision of a commune of light, because the only answer to a bad community is a good community. You cannot fight an organized darkness with isolated individuals. You need an organized light. What is this commune? It is not a political party. It is not a cult. It is a gathering of individuals who have decided to drop the mask, a place where you do not need to hide your face. Look at the structure of your society. It is based on the nuclear family. I have always said that the nuclear family is the nucleus of all neurosis. Why? Because it is too small. It is a pressure cooker. You put a father, a mother, and children in a small box, lock the door and close the curtains. What happens? The tension rises. The father is frustrated by his job, so he takes it out on the wife. The wife is frustrated by her slavery to the house, so she takes it out on the children, and the children, they have no one to take it out on, so they take it out on themselves. They repress it, they twist it, and this private house becomes a private hell. It is in this secrecy that abuse happens. It is behind the locked doors of the respectable family that the seeds of the Epstein psychology are sown. The father treats the child as property. You are mine. I made you. You do what I say. This idea of ownership is the root of the evil. No one owns anyone. Parents do not own their children. Children come through you. They do not belong to you. Khalil Gibran was right. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. The men on the island, they believed in ownership. They thought they could own human beings because they were raised in families where love was confused with possession. If I love you, I own you. This is the logic of the rapist. It is the logic of the empire. In my vision of the commune, there is no ownership. Children belong to everyone. The whole community is the parent. The child is not trapped in the neurosis of two people. He has access to 100 uncles, 100 aunts. He flows. If he is angry with his father, he can go to his uncle. The pressure is released. And in such an open society, abuse is impossible. Abuse needs shadows, it needs silence, it needs a child who is afraid to speak, because daddy is the only authority. In a commune, the child is free. If anyone tries to harm him, the whole community sees it. The walls are made of glass. If you want to understand how to raise children who cannot be abused and who will never become abusers, you must read our books on the new child. They are in the store. They are the manifesto for a new generation. We must dissolve the nuclear family into the universal family. This scares you, I know. You cling to your small family because it is your only security. But look at the cost. You are paying with your sanity. You are paying with the mental health of your children. The elites, they have their own twisted version of a commune. They have their clubs, their secret societies, their islands. They know the power of gathering, but they gather for power, for exploitation. We must gather for celebration, for meditation, and we must look at the education system. The men on that list, they went to the best schools: Harvard, Yale, Oxford, MIT. They were the cream of the crop, and yet they had no conscience. This proves that your education system is a failure. It teaches you how to build a bomb, but it does not teach you whether you should use it. It teaches you how to make money, but it does not teach you how to be happy. It produces efficient robots, intelligent, skilled, but soulless. The professor who visited the island, he could solve complex equations, but he could not solve the simple equation of human decency. Why? Because his head was full, but his heart was empty. We need a new kind of education. I call it deschooling. We need to unlearn the competition, unlearn the ambition, and learn the art of relating, learn the art of love. If schools taught meditation for 1 hour a day, this island would not exist, because a child who meditates develops empathy. He feels the other. He cannot hurt the other because he feels the pain in his own nervous system. Empathy is the only true morality. Morality imposed by the church, thou shalt not, is weak. It breaks the moment the priest is not looking. But empathy, I cannot hurt you because I feel you. It does not need a policeman. We must replace the policeman with the poet, the soldier with the sannyasin. And we must look at the role of privacy. You value privacy very much. This is my private life. But what are you hiding? Privacy is the breeding ground of hypocrisy. The elites love privacy. They have non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. They have private jets, private islands, private banks. Why? Because their actions cannot stand the light of day. I say to you, live a life that needs no privacy. Live an open book. If you make love, it is beautiful. Why hide it? If you drink wine, it is a joy. Why hide it? When you drop privacy, you drop the possibility of perversion. Perversion grows like a fungus in the dark. Bring it into the sun, and it dies. Imagine a society where everything is transparent, where finances are open, where relationships are open, where nothing is under the table. In such a society, corruption is impossible. Epstein flourished because of the under-the-table culture. He was the master of the shadows. We must switch on the floodlights. And this brings us to the solution of tantra. You have heard this word, but you misunderstand it. You think it is about sexual technique. No. Tantra is the science of transforming energy. The men on the island, they were stuck in the lowest form of sexuality, friction, relief, sneezing. It was a biological sneeze. Tantra says sex is not for relief, it is for rising. If you bring awareness to the sexual act, the energy does not go out, it goes up. It moves from the genitals to the heart, and from the heart to the head, the crown. It becomes samadhi. If you know the secret of Tantra, you will never be a sexual predator. Because a predator is hungry, he is trying to get something. The tantrika is full, he is sharing something. The predator uses the other as an object. The tantrika worships the other as a goddess or a god or a god. If those men knew Tantra, they would have looked at those young women and seen the Divine Mother. They would have touched their feet, not their bodies. They would have been overcome with reverence, not lust. Reverence is the cure for lust. But who will teach them reverence? Their churches teach them guilt. Their schools teach them anatomy. Their pornography teaches them violence. No one teaches reverence. We must become the teachers by our example. If you treat your partner with reverence, you are creating a wave of sanity. If you treat your children with reverence, respecting their soul, not crushing their spirit, you are immunizing them against the Epsteins of the world. A child who is respected at home cannot be enslaved by a stranger. A child who knows his own worth will not be dazzled by a billionaire's plane. He will look at the billionaire and say, "You are rich, but you are sad. I do not want your ride." Self-worth is the shield, and self-worth comes from love, not from achievement. We are building a new world, brick by brick, breath by breath. It is a quiet revolution. It is not on the news. The news only covers the collapse of the old world. We are the architects of the new. If you want to be an architect, if you want the blueprints, click the join button. Support the construction of consciousness. And let us talk about the justice system. Everyone is waiting for justice. Put them in jail. Throw away the key. Do you think that will solve the problem? You put one monster in jail, and 10 more are born to take his place, because the factory is still running. The factory of unconsciousness. Justice is not revenge. Revenge is backward looking. Justice should be forward looking. It should be transformative. I say turn the prisons into ashrams. Turn the prisons into meditation centers. These men, they are sick. They need therapy, not punishment. Punishment only makes them harder. It makes them more cunning. If you lock a wild animal in a cage and beat him, he does not become a saint. He becomes a killer. We must have the courage to treat crime as a mental illness, a spiritual illness, and the medicine is meditation. If we could take these elites, these fallen princes and politicians, and force them to sit in silence for 3 months, just silence, no phone, no power, no distractions, they would go through hell. They would face their own demons, and maybe, just maybe, they would come out human. This is the only hope. Otherwise, we are just playing a game of cops and robbers. And the robbers are winning because they own the cops. You must stop playing the game. Step off the board. Create your own game. The game of love. The island was a place of separation. I want you to create an island of connection. Your home can be that island. Your heart can be that island. When people come near you, let them feel safe. Let them feel honored. Let them feel that they are not objects but subjects. This is the vibration that heals the world. And do not be discouraged by the magnitude of the darkness. The darkness is vast, yes, but a small matchstick is more powerful than 1,000,000 years of darkness. You are that matchstick. Strike yourself, ignite. Do not wait for the world to change. It will not change by itself. It waits for you. The world is not what it is. The world is what you are. If you are greedy, the world is a market. If you are loving, the world is a temple. Change your eyes and you change the world. And as we look at the fallout, the crumbling of reputations, the lawsuits, see it as a cosmic drama, the Leela. God is playing all the roles. He is playing the judge, the victim, the criminal. Why? To learn, to experience, to wake up. This tragedy is a wake-up call for the collective soul. It is asking us, is this who you want to be? Is this the best you can do? And the answer must be a resounding no. We can do better. We can be divine. We have the seed of the Buddha in us, but we are fertilizing it with poison. Stop watering the weeds, water the rose. Your attention is the water. Where are you putting your attention? On the scandal, on the gossip, or on your own growth? Use the scandal as a mirror. Where am I like him? Where am I using power? Where am I suppressing? If you do this honest inquiry, the scandal becomes a sadhana, a spiritual practice. And do not forget the power of laughter. I know it is a grim subject, but if you lose your laughter, they have won. Their heaviness has crushed you. Laugh at the absurdity of the ego. Look at these men. They thought they were masters of the universe, and now they are hiding from photographers like frightened rats. It is a comedy. It is the comedy of the ego. It always ends in a pratfall. It always ends in a pie in the face. Laughing at the devil makes him run away. The devil cannot handle laughter. He takes himself very seriously. So, laugh at the Epstein matrix. It is a house of cards, and the wind is blowing, and in that laughter, you regain your innocence, the innocence that they tried to destroy. The new man laughs, he dances, and he builds a world where no child is ever afraid of the dark, because the adults have turned on the light. Be the light. In the next part, we will explore the psychology of the secret society. Why do they need the masks? Why the rituals? We will decode the symbolism of their power, and we will show you how to create a sacred society that needs no secrets. Stay with the stream. The river is flowing towards the ocean. You ask about the masks. You ask why men of science, men of politics would dress up in robes and perform strange rituals in the woods or in dark basements. It seems childish to you, does it not? Like a game of Halloween played by old men. But you must understand the psychology of the secret society. The ego thrives on exclusion. The ego feels biggest when it can say, I am in and you are out. I know something you do not know. This is the entire foundation of their clubs. The rituals, the handshakes, the symbols, they are not about spirituality. They are about creating a synthetic feeling of superiority. When a man feels empty inside, he tries to decorate the outside. He gives himself a fancy title. He wears a special costume. He speaks in a code language. It makes him feel like he belongs to a higher species. But it is all just theater. It is a play acting to cover up a deep spiritual poverty. If you are truly a master, you do not need a mask. You are naked. Your truth is your shield. But these men are not masters, they are actors. And the island was their stage. On that stage, they played the role of gods. But a god who needs a victim is not a god. He is a demon. The secret society is a compensation for a lack of connection. In a real community, everything is open. In a sick community, everything is hidden. They hide because they are ashamed. Deep down, even the most arrogant billionaire knows that what he is doing is against nature. His soul knows. And so he hides in the dark, surrounded by others who are also hiding, and they reassure each other, it is okay. We are the elite. We are above the morality of the common herd. This concept of being above the herd is the most dangerous virus. It allows them to rationalize any crime. They look at you, the worker, the taxpayer, the mother, the student, and they do not see a fellow human. They see a resource like coal, like oil. You are there to be used. This is why they do not feel guilt. Do you feel guilt when you burn coal? No. You think it is the coal's destiny to be burnt. They think it is your destiny to be exploited. It is a philosophy of absolute coldness. And where does this coldness come from? It comes from the head, the intellect. These men are very intellectual. They live in the prefrontal cortex. But the journey from the head to the heart is the longest journey in the world. They have not taken even the first step. They have severed the connection between the brain and the heart. This is what I call the schizophrenia of the West. You have developed the brain to the point of madness, and you have let the heart shrink to the size of a raisin. We must reverse this. We must make the heart the master and the brain the servant. If the heart is the master, you can never create an island of exploitation, because the heart feels the pain of the other. If you are ready to make this shift, if you are ready to decapitate the tyrant of the intellect and crown the king of the heart, click the like button. Let it be your coronation ceremony, and let us look at the philanthropy that covered this operation. This is the most subtle part of the trap. The man on the island was known as a great philanthropist. He gave to science, he gave to education, and because he gave money, people looked the other way. He cannot be a monster. Look at how much he donates. This is the ancient trick of purchasing a good conscience. You steal $1 million and you donate $10 to the church. And the priest says you are forgiven. It is a transaction. Charity in your world is often just a tax on guilt. It is a way to wash the blood off the money. Do not be impressed by their foundations and their charities. Look at the source of the money. If the money comes from exploitation, no amount of charity can purify it. A true gift comes from love, not from a desire for reputation. If you give anonymously, that is beautiful, but these men give with trumpets blasting. They want their names on the buildings, the Epstein Hall of Science. It is an ego trip. They are trying to buy immortality. They know they are going to die and they are terrified. So they want their name to live on in stone, but stone crumbles and names are forgotten. Or worse, the name becomes a curse. Now his name is a curse. His money could not buy him a good legacy. It only bought him a very expensive tomb. Do not try to be a philanthropist. Be a lover. A lover shares because he has too much joy, not because he wants a plaque on the wall. And if you want to support our work, do it with the spirit of a lover. Use the super thanks button not to buy my favor, you already have my love, but to help the garden grow, to help us plant more seeds of awareness. We must also confront the intelligence agencies and their role. We touched on this, but we must go deeper. The spy is the ultimate voyeur. The spy watches everyone but is seen by no one. This is the all-seeing eye on your dollar bill. They have created a surveillance state. They know your emails, your calls, your location, and they tell you, it is for your safety. This is the lie. It is not for your safety, it is for their control. The man on the island was an asset because he was the ultimate spy. He was gathering the ultimate data, the moral failings of the powerful. But I tell you, there is a different kind of all-seeing eye. It is the third eye, the eye of Shiva. When this eye opens, you do not look at others to control them. You look into the nature of reality to liberate yourself. The spy looks outward. The meditator looks inward. The spy gathers dirt. The meditator clears the dust from the mirror of consciousness. Do not worry about the CIA or the FBI watching you. Let them watch. If you have nothing to hide, their watching is meaningless. In fact, give them a good show. Let them see a man who is happy, who is dancing, who is free. Maybe the agent watching your screen will learn something. Maybe he will wake up. We must have compassion even for the spies. They are living in a world of paranoia. To suspect everyone is a hell. To trust no one is a torture. They are burning in their own fire. We, the people of the heart, we trust existence. And because we trust, we are relaxed. The spy is never relaxed. He is always looking over his shoulder. Who is the winner? The powerful man who cannot sleep, or the simple man who sleeps like a baby? You know the answer. Now, let us speak about the complicity of the artists, the Hollywood crowd, the actors, the directors. They were also there. They also flew on the plane. This hurts you more because you love them. You thought they were creative, sensitive souls. How can an artist who is supposed to be the antenna of the race be so insensitive? Because art has become a business. It is no longer about expression, it is about impression. They are selling you a dream, but they are living a nightmare. The artist in the modern world is just a court jester for the rich. He entertains the king to get a few gold coins. He has lost his rebellion. A true artist is a rebel. He challenges the status quo. He does not dine with the oppressors. He exposes them. Where are the true artists today? Where are the poets who will write the elegy of this dying civilization? You must become those artists. Do not wait for Hollywood to tell your story. Hollywood is dead. It is a factory of lies. Create your own art. Sing your own song. And let your art be a weapon of truth. Paint the hypocrisy. Write the truth. Dance the rebellion. If you want to understand the true nature of creativity, read the ebooks on creativity. They will show you that art is not a profession. It is a way of being. And as we dismantle this structure, we must look at the scientism that these elites worshipped. They did not worship God. They worshiped science, but a specific kind of science, a soulless science. They believed that science could solve the problem of humanity. They thought they could breed a better human. This is the idea of eugenics. It is very popular among the billionaires. They think the poor are poor because they are genetically inferior. This is the ultimate arrogance. They do not see that the poor are poor because the rich are greedy. They do not want to share the resources, so they blame the genes of the poor. It is not my fault. I have billions and you have nothing. It is your DNA. What a convenient lie. The island was a laboratory for these ideas. They wanted to create a super race, but look at them. They are not supermen, they are subhuman. They have fallen below the animals. True evolution is not genetic, it is energetic. It is not about changing your DNA, it is about changing your consciousness. A Buddha is not genetically different from you, he is just awake. We do not need genetic engineering, we need spiritual engineering. We need to engineer a society where compassion is the baseline, and this brings us to the media silence regarding the customers. We know the seller Epstein, we know the partner Maxwell, but where are the buyers? Why is the justice system so slow to release the client list? Because the client list is the who's who of the world. If they release the list, the whole structure might collapse. The trust in institutions would reach zero. But I say, let it collapse. Do not be afraid of the collapse. A building that is built on a foundation of bones should collapse. You are afraid of anarchy. You think if the government falls, who will protect us? But who is protecting you now? Are they protecting you? No, they are protecting themselves. They are looting the treasury. They are sending your children to war. They are poisoning your food. You are already in anarchy, but it is a managed anarchy. It is a chaos disguised as order, real anarchy. The word comes from Greek anarchos, meaning no ruler can be beautiful. If everyone is responsible, you don't need a ruler. If everyone is conscious, you don't need a police force. This is the ultimate goal. A society of masters, no servants, no rulers, just friends. But until we reach that goal, we must demand transparency. We must demand that every name be read out loud, not for punishment, but for clarity. We need to see who was driving the bus while we were sleeping in the back seat. And when you see the names, do not be cynical. Cynicism is easy. Oh, they are all the same. No, use it to sharpen your discrimination. Learn to see the wolf in the sheep's clothing. Next time a leader speaks about family values, check his flight logs. Next time a billionaire speaks about saving the world, check his island visits. The age of blind faith is over. The age of eyes wide open is here. And you, my friend, you are the eye-opener. You are the catalyst. Do you feel the power of this? You are not a spectator. By witnessing this, by understanding this, you are changing the collective consciousness. You are adding weight to the side of light, and the scales are tipping. The matrix relies on your cooperation. It relies on your silence. It relies on your distraction. If you stop being distracted, if you focus your laser beam of attention on the truth, the matrix starts to glitch, and right now it is glitching heavily. The Epsteins of the world are the glitches. They are the cracks where the ugly truth leaks out. Do not patch the crack. Widen it. Look inside. Stare into the abyss until the abyss loses its power over you. They say curiosity killed the cat. I say curiosity killed the ignorance. Be curious. Ask questions. Do not accept the official narrative. The official narrative is always a fairy tale written by the victors. But this time the victors are losing control of the pen. The internet has given the pen to you. Write a new story. A story where the human being is respected, where the child is safe, where sex is sacred, where power is service. This story is possible. It is not a utopia. It is a necessity, because the alternative is extinction. If we continue on the path of the island, we will destroy ourselves. The greed will eat the planet. The perversion will eat the soul. We are at a crossroads. One road leads to the island, to transhumanism, to control, to lifeless pleasure. The other road leads to the ashram, to awareness, to freedom, to blissful silence. I am standing at the crossroads, pointing the finger. I cannot walk for you, you have to walk. But I can give you a map, I can give you a light. The map is in the books, the light is in the meditation. Are you brave enough to take the second road? It is a lonely road at first. The crowd is going the other way. The crowd is rushing towards the precipice, chasing the shiny toys. Turn around, step away from the mob. Be an individual. Individual means indivisible, one who cannot be divided, one who is whole. The men on the list were divided, public face versus private face. That division destroyed them. Be indivisible, be the same in the market as you are in the temple. Be the same in the bedroom as you are in the boardroom. This integration is what I call Zorba, the Buddha. Zorba loves the earth, loves the food, loves the dance, loves the body. Buddha loves the sky, the silence, the spirit. The old religions told you to choose, be Zorba or be Buddha. The elites tried to be Zorba in the dark, but without the Buddha, they became beasts. I said, be both. Be Zorba and Buddha. Enjoy the senses, but bring the light of awareness to them. If you bring awareness to the senses become doors to the divine. This is the key that was missing on the island. They had the senses, but they had no awareness. They had the pleasure, but they had no soul. And pleasure without soul turns into pain. It is a law. You can transform your life into a paradise if you understand this synthesis. You do not need billions of dollars. You need a billion moments of awareness. Start now. This very moment is a diamond. Do not throw it in the mud of unconsciousness. If you are feeling the truth of these words, if they are ringing a bell in your heart, then you are ready for the deeper work. The YouTube video is just the appetizer. The main course is the inner work. Do not starve your soul. Feed it. And as we approach the final part of this discourse, I want to prepare you for the great letting go. To build the new, we must let go of the old. We must forgive. Yes, forgive. This is the hardest part. I am not saying forget. I am not saying condone. I am saying forgive. Because if you hold on to hate for these men, you are tied to them. Hate is a chain. You are shackled to Epstein by your hatred. He is dead. Let him go. Let the chain break. Justice will be done by the laws of existence. You do not need to carry the burden of executioner in your heart. Free yourself from the toxicity of the scandal, observe it, learn from it, and then drop it. Wash your hands, return to your own garden. The flowers are waiting for you. In the final part, we will speak about the future, what is coming, the golden future or the global suicide. It depends on you. We will talk about how to prepare your children, your community, and your own mind for the shifts that are coming. The matrix is crumbling. What will you build in the rubble? I will give you the blueprint. Stay with me. The journey is almost complete, but the real journey never ends. The future is not something that just happens to you. The future is something that flows out of you. If you are unconscious, your future will be a repetition of your past. And the past of humanity, as we have seen in these documents, is a history of ugly domination. If we do not wake up now, the future will be just a bigger, more technological version of the island, a digital concentration camp where you are the prisoner and your own desires are the guards. But there is another possibility, I call it the golden future, a future where the human being is no longer a slave to his instincts, but a master of his destiny. This future is possible, but it requires a clean break. You cannot build the golden future on the rotten foundations of the past. You have to let the past die. And the Epstein case is the death rattle of the past. It is the sound of the old civilization collapsing, the civilization of the father figure. For thousands of years you have looked for a father. You looked for a father in the sky, God. You looked for a father in the church, the Pope. You looked for a father in the capital, the president. You wanted someone to take responsibility for you. And what did the fathers do? They abused you. This is the harsh truth. The father figures, whether they are priests or politicians, have always exploited the children, because power over others is always ultimately abusive. The only non-abusive power is power over oneself. So the first step toward the golden future is kill the father. I do not mean your biological father. I mean the psychological need for authority. Stop looking for a savior. There is no savior coming. The Messiah is not coming. The political leader is not going to drain the swamp. He is the swamp. You have to be your own savior. This is what it means to be an adult. Humanity has been childish for too long. We are teenagers playing with nuclear weapons. It is time to grow up. And growing up means facing the darkness without fear and without needing a hand to hold. If you are ready to stand on your own 2 feet, if you are ready to be a sovereign individual, show your readiness. Subscribe to the channel. It is a declaration of independence. And let us talk about the vacuum. When you destroy the old idols, a vacuum is created. When you realize that the elites are corrupt, that the media is lying, that the church is empty, you feel a great emptiness. What do I believe in now? This vacuum is dangerous because if you do not fill it with consciousness, it will be filled with chaos. It will be filled with madness. This is why many people, when they see the truth of the conspiracy, go crazy. They become paranoid. They start buying guns, they start building bunkers. They are reacting out of fear. Do not fill the vacuum with fear. Fill it with silence. Fill it with love. Use this moment of disillusionment to go inward. If the outer world is a lie, where is the truth? The truth is in the witness. The truth is in the one who is seeing the lie. The island represents the extreme of the outer world, the world of sensation, of matter, of bodies. It is the world of Maya, illusion. They tried to find happiness in the skin and they found only misery. Now turn 180 degrees, look in. The inner island, the island of the soul, is the only safe place. And on this inner island, there are no Epsteins. There are no predators. Because in the inner world, there is no other. There is only oneness. You cannot rape yourself. You can only love yourself. We need to teach our children this inward journey. Instead of teaching them to compete for the best college, teach them to sit silently for 10 minutes. Teach them to watch their thoughts. If a child learns to watch his anger, he will not become a violent man. If a child learns to watch his lust, he will not become a rapist. The solution to all crime is the witness. But the schools will not do it. The government will not do it. Why? Because a witnessing society is dangerous to them. A conscious man cannot be enslaved. You cannot sell useless products to a conscious man. You cannot convince a conscious man to go to war and kill people he has never met. So, the system needs you to remain unconscious. It needs you to remain a zombie. The Epstein operation was a way to keep the leaders zombified, to keep them hooked on perversion so they would be obedient to the system. It is a circle of sleep. Break the circle. If you want to know how to break the circle in your daily life, how to introduce meditation to your family without forcing it, we have guides for this. Check the e-books. They are practical manuals for the spiritual rebel. And let us speak of the rebellious spirit. I am not talking about the revolutionary who throws stones and burns cars. That is reaction, not rebellion. The revolutionary is just as unconscious as the tyrant. He just wants to take the tyrant's chair. The rebel is different. The rebel changes his consciousness. He drops his own greed. He drops his own jealousy. He creates a new world by being a new man. We need rebels now. We need people who live by their own light, not by the laws of a corrupt society. The laws of society said that what happened on the island was legal as long as they didn't get caught. The liars made sure of it. The laws are full of loopholes for the rich. Forget the laws of man. Follow the law of love. The law of love has no loopholes. It is absolute. If you hurt another, you have broken the law of love. The list is a list of lawbreakers in the cosmic court. They may escape the human court, but they are already convicted in the court of their own being. Their faces show the conviction. Look at the faces of the innocent, the children, the tribal people who live in nature. They have a glow. Now look at the faces of these billionaires. They look gray. They look dusty. The soul has retreated. Do not sell your glow for gold. And I want to address the fear of the future that many of you feel. You see these revelations and you think the world is ending. No, the world is being reborn. Birth is always messy. There is blood, there is screaming, there is pain, but out of it comes new life. We are in the birth canal. It is tight, it is dark, and it is squeezing us, but do not panic. Push towards the light. The Epsteins, the Maxwells, they are the placenta. They were part of the process, but now they must be discarded. They are the toxins that the body of humanity is expelling. Celebrate the expulsion. Do not say, oh, how terrible that we have toxins. Say how wonderful that we are finally vomiting them out. This is a healing crisis, like a fever. The fever burns the bacteria. The scandal is the fever. Let it burn. And while it burns, you must stay cool. You must be the center of the cyclone. How to stay cool? Humor. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you lose your sense of humor, you lose your perspective. These people, these masters of the universe, they are ridiculous. They are clowns. Imagine them in their secret rituals, wearing their silly robes, chanting their silly words. When you laugh, you reduce their size, you take away their power. Fear makes them giants. Laughter makes them pygmies. Laugh at the politician who lies. He is like a naughty boy caught with his hand in the cookie jar. I did not eat the cookie, he says, with crumbs all over his face. We see the crumbs, we see the flight logs, we see the emails. Do not get angry at the boy. Just take the cookie jar away. No more power for you. Go to your room and think about what you did. This should be our attitude. Firm but not hateful. Take the power away. How do we take the power away? By withdrawing our energy. Money is energy. Attention is energy. Vote is energy. Stop giving them your money. Stop watching their propaganda. Stop voting for their puppets. Create your own economy. Create your own media. Create your own communities. This is what I mean by the golden future. It is a decentralized future, a future of small, self-sufficient communes, where people know each other, love each other, and trust each other. In a small village, Epstein cannot exist. Everyone would know. Hey, why are you bringing those girls here? The village grandmother would stop him at the gate. He needed the anonymity of the global city. He needed the disconnect. We must return to connection. If you are ready to connect, to be part of a global tribe of rebels, click join. We are finding each other. We are weaving a new web of light over the old web of darkness. And consider the role of desire itself. The root of the problem is not desire. Desire is energy. The root is unconscious desire. When you suppress a natural desire, it goes into the basement. It starts lifting weights in the dark. It gets strong and it gets angry. And one day it bursts out as rape, as violence, as perversion. The man on the island, he is the result of centuries of Christian repression. He is the shadow of the Pope. The Pope says no sex, and the shadow says any sex, all sex, twisted sex. They are two sides of the same coin. If you want to destroy the shadow, you must drop the repression. Accept your nature. Accept your body. It is beautiful. It is not a sin. If you are hungry, eat. If you are tired, sleep. If you are sexual, love. Be simple. Be natural. A natural man is harmless. An unnatural man is a ticking time bomb. We have filled our society with ticking time bombs. And now they are exploding. Disarm yourself. Remove the fuse of guilt. When you are guilt-free, you are transparent. You have nothing to hide. And a man with nothing to hide cannot be blackmailed. Imagine if every politician was guilt-free. If they could say, yes, I have a lover. Yes, I smoke marijuana. So what? Then the blackmailers would be out of business. We have photos. Good, publish them. I look good in that photo. This is the only way to defeat the deep state. Radical honesty, radical shamelessness. I am teaching you the art of being shameless. The world calls it sin. I call it courage. And as we move forward, we must look at the technology of control. They used cameras to trap people. Now they want to use AI to trap you. They want to create a digital ID, a digital prison. They will say it is for your safety, to protect the children. They always use the children as a shield. To stop the next Epstein, we need to monitor everyone's messages. Do not fall for it. It is a trick. You do not stop Epstein by monitoring the innocent. You stop Epstein by exposing the guilty. They want to use their own crimes as an excuse to enslave you further. Look how bad the world is. You need us to control it? No. The world is bad because they controlled it. The solution is not more control. The solution is freedom. Freedom is risky, yes, but freedom is the only atmosphere in which the soul can breathe. I would rather you be free and make mistakes than be a slave and be safe. Safety is death. Life is danger. Choose life and choose to support the voices of freedom. A super thanks is not just a donation, it is a vote for the dangerous truth. We are going to dissect the mechanism of trauma-based mind control in the next part. How they break the spirit to create a slave. It is heavy, but you need to know, because they are trying to do it to the whole population. Through fear, through panic, through constant crisis. They keep you in a state of trauma, so you remain a child. Daddy, save me. Stop saying that. Say, I am here. I am awake. I am ready. The golden future is waiting for you, but you have to walk towards it. It will not come to you while you are sitting on the couch watching the news. Turn off the news, turn on your awareness. We have a few more steps to take in this analysis. We are going to go into the belly of the beast, but do not fear. We have the sword of truth. The beast is old and dying. You are young and eternal. Let the old die, help the new be born. They break the spirit of the child to create the obedient citizen. This is the fundamental mechanism of your civilization. You look at the trauma-based mind control that is discussed in conspiracy circles, the MK Ultra, the monarch programming, and you think it is something rare. You think it only happens in secret laboratories. I tell you, it happens in every school. It happens in every church. It happens in every family. The method is the same, only the intensity differs. What is the method? First, create fear. Second, offer protection in exchange for obedience. A child is born fearless. Have you seen a baby? He looks at the world with wonder. He is not afraid of the dark. He is not afraid of the future. He is total trust. Then the conditioning begins. Don't do that. God will punish you. The devil will get you. If you don't study hard, you will be a beggar. Fear is injected into the bloodstream. And once the fear is there, the child looks for a protector. Daddy, save me. Teacher, tell me the right answer. Priest, tell me how to go to heaven. The moment you ask for a protector, you have become a slave. The elites on the island, they were masters of this game because they were also victims of it. You must understand, the abuser was once the abused. In the elite boarding schools, in the secret fraternities, they go through terrible rituals, hazing, humiliation, pain. Why? To break their empathy, to kill the soft part of the human heart. They are taught, if you want to be a leader, you must be hard. You must not feel. So they dissociate. They split. One part of them becomes the cold, calculating ruler, and the emotional part is locked in the basement, screaming. And because they are broken, they want to break you. Misery loves company, but it loves company that is subordinate. Look at the state of the world today. Is it not a state of constant trauma? Every day the news screams at you. Pandemic, war, climate collapse, economic crash. It is a bombardment of fear. Why? Do you think they just want to inform you? No, they want to keep you in the reptile brain, the lowest part of your brain, the part that only knows fight or flight. When you are in the reptile brain, you cannot meditate. You cannot love, you cannot think critically, you can only react. You are a biological machine looking for survival. And who offers you survival? The state, the corporation, the expert. Take this pill and you will be safe. Vote for me and I will protect you. Buy this insurance and you will be secure. They sell you safety, but the price is your soul. The Epstein operation was just a microcosm of this macrocosm. He created a mini world of trauma to control powerful men. The global system creates a macro world of trauma to control you. You are on the island too. You just don't see the fences because they are made of digital signals, not wire. How do you escape? You must understand that the threat is mostly an illusion. Yes, there are dangers in life, but fear is not danger. Danger is objective, fear is psychological. If a snake is on the path, jump, that is intelligence. But to worry about snakes when you are sitting in your living room, that is neurosis. That is what the news creates, neurosis. You must stop consuming their fear. It is poison. I propose a news fast. For 7 days, do not watch the news. Do not read the papers. Do not scroll through the feed. Just live your real life. Look at your wife. Play with your dog. Water your plants. Do your work. You will see a miracle happen. The anxiety will disappear. The world will seem peaceful. You will realize that the chaos is not out there, it is on the screen. And when you disconnect from the global trauma, you reclaim your energy. You become a powerhouse. Now let us speak about the inner child. This phrase is used by psychologists, but I use it spiritually. The inner child is not a regression. It is your original face. It is the you that was there before the trauma. This child is still there, buried under layers of adult armor. The armor of cynicism, the armor of I know everything, the armor of I am tough. You have to take off the armor. It is heavy and it is useless against the real enemy. The real enemy is your own unconsciousness. To find the inner child, you have to be vulnerable again. You have to cry. You have to laugh for no reason. You have to be willing to look foolish. The men on the island were terrified of looking foolish. They took themselves so seriously. I am a president, I am a royal. This seriousness is a disease. It makes the heart heavy like a stone. Be playful. Existence is a play. Leila, when you are playful, trauma cannot stick to you. Have you noticed? Water slips off a lotus leaf. Trauma slips off a playful mind. It is only the serious mind that holds on to scars. I was hurt 30 years ago, and you are still carrying it like a trophy. Drop the trophy. It is just rust. If you are ready to drop the heavy armor and dance naked in the rain of existence, metaphorically or literally, if you are brave enough, then you are my people. Click the join button, let us dance together and consider the role of guilt in this mind control. Guilt is the chain. The priest says, you are born in sin. What a terrible thing to say to a baby. You are defective from the start. This creates a deep wound. I am not worthy. And because you feel unworthy, you accept abuse. You think you deserve it. The victims of Epstein, many of them were from broken homes, from difficult backgrounds. They were already primed to believe they had no value. So when a rich man offered them attention, even abusive attention, they took it. We must destroy the concept of original sin. I teach original blessing. You are born blessed. You are born divine. There is no flaw in you. The only flaw is the idea that you are flawed. If you can accept your divinity, no one can abuse you. You will have a natural boundary, a force field of dignity. I am God, and you are God. How can I let you disrespect God? This is the only true self-defense. Karate is good, but spiritual dignity is better. The ebooks I have written are designed to restore this dignity. They are mirrors. When you read them, you don't see my words. You see your own beauty. You see the face you had before your parents and teachers put a mask on it. Check the store. Get the mirror. And let us look at the divide and conquer strategy. They keep you fighting each other, left versus right, black versus white, men versus women, gay versus straight. Why? So you don't look up. If you are busy fighting your neighbor about his political sign, you will not notice the billionaire stealing your future. You will not notice the island operating in the shadows. The Epstein case should unite us. It should be the moment where the left and the right say, wait a minute, we both hate this. We both agree that exploiting children is evil. But watch how the media spins it. Oh, it was the other side's fault. He was a friend of Trump. No, he was a friend of Clinton. They turn a crime against humanity into a political football. Do not kick the football. Pop it. Say, I don't care who his friends were. I care about the system that allowed him to exist. The system is neither left nor right. The system is vertical. It is the few on top crushing the many below. We must create a horizontal society. A circle. In a circle, no one is above, no one is below. We hold hands. This is the structure of the commune. A circle of friends. And in this circle, healing happens naturally. You don't need a therapist. The love of the community is the therapy. If you are lonely, and I know many of you are lonely scrolling on your phones in the middle of the night, it is because you are missing the circle. You are a point trying to survive in a geometry of squares. Come back to the circle. The virtual circle we are building here is a start. Your comment is a hand held out. Your super thanks is a log on the fire in the center. Now, I must speak about the addiction to outrage. It feels good to be angry, doesn't it? It gives you a rush of adrenaline. Look at these monsters, it makes you feel righteous. But righteousness is a trap. It is the ego sneaking in the back door. I am better than them? Are you? If you had $1 billion, no laws, no police, and a private island, are you sure, absolutely sure, that your shadow would not come out? Do not be so arrogant. The shadow is in everyone. The potential for evil is in everyone. That is why we need awareness. Instead of judging them, judge yourself. Watch your own mind. When do you use people? When do you lie? When do you seek power? Catch the mini Epstein inside you before he grows up. Kill the monster while it is small. This is the work of the sannyasin, the seeker. He is ruthless with himself and compassionate with others. The moralist is ruthless with others and lenient with himself. Be a seeker, not a moralist. And let us talk about the great awakening that people speak of. They think it will be a political event, that some leader will announce, we are free. No, the great awakening is individual. It happens one by one. It happens when you turn off the TV and turn on your soul. It is happening right now. As you listen to this, something is clicking in you. That click is the awakening. Do not wait for the world to wake up. The world is heavy. It sleeps deeply. You wake up, and when you are awake, shake the person next to you gently with love. Wake up, my friend. The house is on fire, but the garden is blooming. We have to live in two worlds simultaneously. The world of the fire, the dying society, and the world of the garden, the blossoming consciousness. Do not get consumed by the fire. Tend the garden. And what about the future of sex? After this scandal, there is a danger that sex will become even more repressed. People will be afraid to touch. Men will be afraid of women. Women will be afraid of men. A new Puritanism will rise. This is the wrong direction. We do not need less sex. We need better sex. Conscious sex. Sacred sex. We need to teach our sons that a woman is not a conquest. She is a mystery to be entered with awe. We need to teach our daughters that they are not decorations. They are power, Shakti. If we can heal the sexual wound of humanity, the Epsteins will vanish. They are maggots that live in the wound. Heal the wound, and the maggots have no food. This healing requires courage. It requires talking about things that are taboo. I have always broken taboos, and they called me the sex guru. They meant it as an insult. I took it as a compliment, because sex is the source of life. If you are against sex, you are against life. And these people who call themselves pro-life, they are the most anti-life people on the planet. They are against the very act that creates life. They want to control the womb. They want to control the seed. Reclaim your biology. It belongs to God, not to the state. And finally, in this part, I want to prepare you for the reveal of the aliens. You laugh? Do not laugh. The next card they will play when the terrestrial enemies are not enough to scare you is the extraterrestrial threat. The aliens are coming. We need a one-world government to fight them. It is the ultimate distraction, the ultimate trauma. Do not fall for it. If there are beings from other stars, they are not coming to invade. Only low consciousness beings invade. A civilization that can travel across galaxies has transcended violence. They are likely watching us with great pity. Look at those monkeys blowing up their own cage. Do not fear the sky. The sky is full of friends. The enemies are here, in the penthouses, in the bunkers. Keep your eyes on the real problem, the lack of human consciousness. We are nearing the end of our analysis. We have dissected the corpse of the old world. It is ugly, it smells, but we had to look at it. Now we must bury it, and we must plant a new tree on the grave, the tree of the new man. What does this new man look like? He is fearless. He is loving. He is rebellious. He is joyous. He is not serious. He is a laugher. He is a dancer. He is you. When you drop the baggage of the past, can you feel him stirring inside you? That is the pregnancy. You are pregnant with your own divinity. Give birth to yourself. In the next part, we will talk about the specific steps to build the parallel society, how to live in the matrix without being of the matrix, the practical spirituality of the 21st century. We will talk about money, about relationships, about community. We are moving from what is wrong to how to live right. Stay with me. The dawn is coming. You ask, how do we live in this world without becoming part of its madness? This is the most practical question. It is easy to talk about philosophy, but you have to pay the rent. You have to buy food, you have to send your children to school. The matrix is everywhere. So, I propose the creation of a parallel society. Do not try to overthrow the old society. It is too big, too stupid, and too violent. If you fight it, you will be crushed. And even if you win, you will become just like them. To fight a monster, you have to become a monster. Instead, step sideways, create a new layer of reality, live in the city, but do not be of the city. Live in the marketplace, but do not be a merchant of greed. How? First, look at your work. Most of you are doing jobs that contribute to the sickness. You are working in corporations that exploit, in banks that gamble, in media that lies, and you come home tired and say, I am just doing my job. This is the Nuremberg defense. I was just following orders. It is not good enough. Right livelihood is the first step. You must find a way to earn your bread that does not harm others and does not kill your own creativity. It is better to be a gardener and be happy than to be a CEO and be miserable. It is better to make less money and keep your soul than to make millions and lose your sleep. The men on the island, they had the best jobs. They were the masters of the universe. and look where it led them, to the sewer. Do not envy their success. Redefine success. Success is not a number in a bank account. Success is how many moments of joy you have in a day. Success is how deeply you can breathe. Success is having nothing to hide. If you can shift your value system from money to life, you have stepped out of the matrix. You have become invisible to them. They cannot control a man who does not want what they are selling. They sell status. If you don't care about status, they are powerless. They sell fear. If you are not afraid of poverty, they are powerless. Be a minimalist in things and a maximalist in consciousness, and let us talk about money. You think money is evil? No. Money is just a medium of exchange. The problem is not money, the problem is hoarding. The elites hoard. They stop the flow. Blood that stops flowing becomes a clot. Epstein was a blood clot in the circulatory system of humanity. In the parallel society, we circulate energy. We support each other. If you have a friend who is an artist, buy his art. Don't buy the poster from Walmart. If you have a friend who grows vegetables, buy from him. Don't go to the supermarket chain. This is economic rebellion. It is quiet, it is legal, but it is deadly to the system. If millions of people start trading with each other, ignoring the big corporations, the giants will starve. We must starve the giants, not with guns, but with our wallets. And if you want to support this platform, this digital ashram, where we are plotting this rebellion of love, use the super thanks. It is your vote for the parallel economy. Now consider education. This is the most critical point. The current schools are prisons. They are designed to break the will of the child. They force the child to sit still for hours, to memorize useless facts, to compete with his friends. By the time a child leaves school, he is bored, he hates learning, he is ready to be a slave. We need to create parallel schools or unschools. If you can take your children out of the factory, teach them at home, or better, gather 5 families and hire a tutor who loves poetry, who loves nature, who loves silence. Create a micro school, teach them how to grow food, teach them how to build a house, teach them how to meditate, teach them the things that actually matter. If you send your child to the state school, do not be surprised if he comes back a stranger. The state wants him to be a cog in the machine. You want him to be a free spirit. There is a conflict of interest. Protect your children from the indoctrination. The island mentality starts in the classroom, where the teacher has absolute power and the student has none. And let us talk about health. The pharmaceutical industry is the partner of the military-industrial complex. They want you sick. A healthy man is a lost customer. They poison your food with chemicals, and then they sell you the pill to fix the stomach ache caused by the chemicals. It is a brilliant business model. In the parallel society, we take responsibility for our own bodies. We eat real food, we use the medicine of nature, we fast. Fasting is a great rebellion. When you fast, you say to the food industry, I don't need you today. You break the addiction. The elites are obsessed with life extension. They inject the blood of the young. They take experimental drugs. They are terrified of the body's natural decay. Accept the body. Love the body. But do not be obsessed with it. You are not the body. You are the dweller in the house. Keep the house clean, but remember that you are the guest. And now the most difficult part, relationships. The parallel society needs a new kind of relationship. The old marriage is failing. It was based on ownership. You are my wife, you are my husband. This ownership creates jealousy. It creates possessiveness, and possessiveness kills love. You cannot hold the wind in your fist. If you close your fist, the wind is gone. You have to keep your hand open. We need conscious relating. Two people coming together not out of need but out of overflowing. If you need your wife, you will exploit her. You will use her to fill your hole, and eventually she will resent it. But if you are full and she is full, then your meeting is a festival. It is a dance, and in this new way of relating, there is no secrecy. You tell the truth, even the uncomfortable truth. I felt attracted to someone else today. In the old world, you hide this. You feel guilty, you suppress it, and then you go to an island to act it out. In the new world, you share it, you laugh about it. Look at my mind. It is chasing butterflies again. By sharing it, you dissolve the energy. It does not become a dark secret. Transparency is the antiseptic. If you are struggling with your relationships, if you feel trapped in the old patterns of jealousy and fighting, read the e-books on love and freedom. They are the constitution of the new relationship. And let us speak about the community or the sangha. Man is a social animal, but he is also a spiritual being. He needs a tribe that resonates with his spirit. The old tribes, the nations, the religions are based on hate. We are Christians, we hate Muslims. We are Americans, we hate Russians. The new tribe is based on consciousness. It has no name, it has no flag, it has no borders. You can find this tribe everywhere. Look into the eyes of people. When you see a sparkle, when you see a depth, you have found a brother or a sister. Connect with them, invite them for tea, sit in silence together. You do not need a temple. Your living room is the temple. Start small, a Sunday Sangha. Invite 3 friends. Do not talk about politics. Do not talk about the scandal. Talk about your inner journey. Meditate for 20 minutes. Dance for 20 minutes. Eat together. This small gathering creates a field of energy. It recharges your batteries. If you rely only on your own energy, you will get depleted. The matrix is draining. You need the collective energy of the Sangha to stay high. And in this Sangha, children are welcome. They are not sent to a separate room. They see the adults meditating. They see the adults dancing. They learn by osmosis. Oh, this is how grown-ups behave. They are happy, they are quiet. Instead of seeing grown-ups drinking alcohol and fighting, they see grown-ups celebrating silence. This changes their entire brain structure. You are the pioneer. You have to start it. Do not wait for a guru to come to your town. You are the guru of your own circle. And let us look at the digital world. The internet is a double-edged sword. It spreads the truth about the island, but it also spreads the addiction. Use the internet. Do not let the internet use you. Be the master of the machine. Set boundaries. After 8 p.m., the machine is off. If you are always connected to the cloud, you are disconnected from the earth. And if you are not grounded, you can be easily manipulated. The elites want you in the metaverse. They want you to live in a virtual reality where you own nothing and you are happy. Reject the metaverse. Embrace the universe. Touch the tree. Smell the rose. Walk barefoot on the grass. These are real. The pixels are fake. The more they push you into the digital, the more you must retreat into the physical, into the sensual. And finally, how do we deal with the shadow of the past? Many of you have been victims. You have been abused. You have been manipulated. And when you hear about Epstein, your old wounds open up. You feel the pain again. Do not push the pain away. The pain is a messenger. It is telling you that there is trapped energy in your system. You need catharsis, you need to scream, you need to cry. You need to beat a pillow. Do not be civilized with your pain. Civilization is the cause of the pain. It cannot be the cure. Go into the forest or into your car and scream your lungs out. Vomit the misery. And after the storm, silence will come. In that silence, healing happens. The elites do not know how to heal. That is why they keep repeating the crime. They are stuck in a loop. You can break the loop. This is the meaning of karma. Karma is just a fancy word for a loop. You do the same thing, you get the same result. To break karma, you have to do something new, something unexpected. If you usually get angry, this time laugh. If you usually withdraw, this time reach out. If you usually judge, this time understand. One moment of doing something new breaks the chain of 1,000 lives. You are powerful. You have no idea how powerful you are. The system spends billions of dollars to keep you unaware of your power. Why would they spend so much money on propaganda? If you were weak, they know you are lions sleeping. They are the zookeepers tiptoeing around, hoping you don't wake up. I am here to roar and to tell you, roar, wake up the other lions. We are building a jungle, not a zoo. The parallel society is a jungle. It is wild, it is unpredictable, it is dangerous, but it is alive. The society of the elites is a zoo. It is controlled, it is monitored, it is dead. Choose the jungle. If you are ready to be wild, click the join button, support the wildness, and remember, this is not about dropping out of society. It is about dropping into reality. You continue to do your job, but with a new quality. You continue to be a father or a mother, but with a new awareness. You become a spy of the divine. You are working behind enemy lines. You look like them, you dress like them, but you are not them. You are secretly sabotaging their machinery of gloom by radiating joy. A joyous person is the greatest saboteur. He disrupts the frequency of fear. When you walk into a room full of fearful people, and you are smiling and you are relaxed, you change the room. You don't have to say a word. Your vibration does the work. Be a tuning fork. Tune the world to your frequency. Do not let the world tune you to its frequency. This is the battle. It is a battle of vibrations. The island was a low vibration, a vibration of lust, greed, fear. The ashram, your home, is a high vibration, a vibration of love, light, laughter. Physics says the higher vibration always consumes the lower vibration. Light dispels darkness. Darkness cannot dispel light. Have you ever seen darkness attacking a candle? Get him, boys. No. The moment the candle is there, the darkness is gone. It has no substance. Evil has no substance. It is just the absence of consciousness. Do not fight evil. Bring consciousness. Fill your house with light. Fill your mind with light. And read the books. I keep telling you this, not to sell paper, but to give you fuel. The mind needs new software. The old software is corrupted by the matrix. The books are the new code. In the final part, we will bring it all together. We will look at the ultimate destiny of this planet. Is it destruction? Or is it a quantum leap? I will give you the vision of the new earth, and I will give you the final blessing for your journey. Do not miss the end. The climax is yet to come. We are standing at the edge of a cliff. Humanity has arrived at the point of no return. You can look down into the abyss of total madness, the abyss where the Epsteins and the warmongers live, or you can look up into the vast sky of consciousness. You have to jump, but you have to choose where to jump. If you jump into the abyss, you are committing global suicide, and we are very close to it. The nuclear weapons are ready, the ecological collapse is ready, the psychological breakdown is ready. The island was just a symptom of a civilization that is preparing to die. It is the rot that appears on the fruit before it falls from the tree. But if you jump into the sky, that is the quantum leap. That is the birth of the new man. And I am here to tell you that the sky is available. The wings are already on your back. You just have to open them. What is this new man? He is not a transhumanist cyborg with a microchip in his brain. That is the elite's false version of evolution. They want to merge man with machine because they hate biology. They hate death, so they want to become silicon. The real new man is a merger of man with the divine. He is not afraid of death because he knows he is eternal consciousness. He does not need to extend his life by stealing the blood of the young. He knows that life is not measured in years but in intensity. One moment of total awareness is better than 1,000 years of sleep. This new man has no nations. He does not carry a passport of America or China or Russia. He carries the passport of existence. He is an earthling. Imagine a world without borders, without armies, the trillions of dollars that are wasted on killing. If that money was poured into life, into gardens, into schools, into music, this earth would become a paradise. The Epsteins of the world exist because we have borders. Borders create jurisdictions. If I go to this island, the US law does not apply. They play the game of geography. Remove the borders, and there is no place for them to hide. One world, one law, the law of love. You say this is a dream. I say it is the only practical solution. The old way, the way of division, has failed. It has produced only blood and perversion. If you think the realists are the ones in Washington and London, look at the mess they have made. They are not realists, they are destroyers. The dreamer is the only realist now, because only the dream of unity can save us. And this dream begins with you. You are the prototype. If you can drop your own boundaries, the boundary between your head and your heart, the boundary between your sex and your spirit, you become a citizen of the new earth. The scandal we have analyzed, it is a mirror. It shows you what happens when you live in division. The public man versus the private shadow. The new man has no shadow, not because he is a saint, but because he is transparent. He is made of glass, light passes through him, and because light passes through him, he casts no shadow on others. He does not traumatize his children, he does not exploit his partner, he breaks the chain of pain that has been running for 10,000 years. This is your mission if you choose to accept it, to be the end of the line for the trauma. It stops with me. Say this to yourself. The abuse stops with me. The greed stops with me. The lying stops with me. If 1 million people say this and mean it, the matrix collapses. The matrix is built on the assumption that you will pass the pain to the next generation. If you refuse to pass it, the fuel line is cut. And do not worry about the elites and their plans. They are planning a great reset. Let them plan. Existence has its own plan, and existence is always stronger than the ego. Their plan is based on control. Existence's plan is based on freedom. Freedom always wins in the long run. A river may be dammed, but eventually the water breaks the dam. You are the water. Gather your energy, flow together. This community, this channel, is a gathering of the water. We are creating a flood of consciousness. And I want to speak to those of you who feel too small. You look at the billionaires, the powerful names on the list, and you feel insignificant. I am just a taxi driver. I am just a teacher. What can I do? You can do everything. Because power is not about size, it is about connection to the source. A single seed can turn a barren mountain into a forest. You are that seed. Do not underestimate the power of a pure heart. A pure heart is a magnetic force. It changes the atmosphere. When you meditate in your small apartment, you are sending ripples through the collective unconscious. You are making it slightly easier for someone else to wake up. We are all connected in the deep ocean of the mind. Your clarity helps my clarity. Your courage helps my courage. So do not be humble in a false way. Be proud to be a carrier of the light. And as we close this transmission, I want to give you a specific tool, a weapon of mass instruction. The tool is witnessing Sakshi. Whatever happens in the world, another scandal, another war, another virus, witness it. Do not identify with it. Do not say, I am scared. Say, I am watching fear. There is a gap between you and the fear. In that gap, you are free. In that gap, you are divine. The Epsteins of the world have no gap. They are consumed by their desires. They are slaves. You are the master. Because you have the gap. Expand the gap. Make it bigger every day. And if you need help to expand it, if you need the techniques, the methods, the maps, that is why I have written the e-books. They are not just books, they are devices. They are designed to create the gap. Go to the store, pick the one that calls to you. It is the best investment you will ever make. Better than Bitcoin, better than gold. You are investing in your own eternity. And finally, I ask you to support this channel. Why? Not because I need your money, but because the world needs this voice. The algorithm does not like truth. The algorithm likes cats and controversy. To keep the truth alive in a machine made of lies, we need your help. Click join, click super thanks. Become a pillar of this temple. And now the final blessing. You have heard the dark story of the island. You have looked into the eyes of the monster. Now wash your eyes. Look at the sky. Look at the stars. The universe is incredibly beautiful. It is not corrupt. The corruption is a tiny layer of dust on a small planet. Do not let the dust blind you to the stars. You are stardust. You are made of light. Go back to your life, but go back as a stranger. Do not fit in. Be a misfit. The well-adjusted person is the one who fits into a sick society. Do not be well-adjusted. Be beautifully maladjusted. Love when they say hate. Dance when they say march. Give when they say take. This is the rebellion. And if you do this, you will create an island of your own. Not an island of Epstein, but an island of Osho, an island of laughter, an island of love. And one day, these islands will meet, and the whole earth will become an island of God. It is possible, it is coming. Are you coming with us? The boat is leaving, the whistle is blowing. Don't stand on the shore. Jump aboard. The destination is not a place. The destination is you. I leave you with my love. I leave you with my silence. Drink the silence and be a light unto yourself.